One of the most pervasive myths that so many women believe is that men don't want or are afraid of commitment. And it's just not true. It's just that most men have to be inspired to commitment. They cannot be forced into it. They cannot be backed into a corner and sort of finagled into commitment. So in this video, I want to break down some signs to look out for that will show you that a man will commit.
Hi, I'm Irom, and I'm one of the top love, dating, and manifestation coaches for smart, successful women like you. I share content on understanding men in the masculine, dating as a high-value woman, and manifesting love, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss anything.
Men and commitment. This is something that so many women struggle with and are endlessly frustrated about. He just doesn't want to commit. I can never meet guys that want to commit. So I want to break down some of the signs that he will commit. So the first thing to look out for, this is a good sign, is that he tells you he wants commitment. He says, I'm interested in commitment. I am open to commitment. I'm at a place where I'm looking for a committed relationship. Now, is it possible that some men will lie? Of course. People lie, men will lie. Some men will say straight up, I want commitment, and they really don't. But usually, that's not the case. In the vast majority of cases, men will tell you very straight up, I'm not looking for a committed relationship right now. I just want something casual. I'm not in a place to commit. I won't be a good boyfriend to you. They'll say it, and sometimes we just don't want to hear it, right? It's like if you like someone and you're hoping that he'll commit, you're just hoping that it'll go away, that he'll change his mind. And part of the reason that so many women think that is because a lot of women would change their mind. Often women might be in a place where they'll say, I'm not looking for a commitment right now. It's not where I am. It's not important to me. But if they meet the right person, that goes out the window. Men are not usually like that. Now, of course, there are the circumstances where they are, but I wouldn't bet on that because in the vast majority of cases, if he says, I am not looking for commitment, he is telling you the truth. You need to believe him. And usually they do tell the truth. So if he says, I am looking for commitment, this is a priority for me right now, I am hoping to find someone I can really build a life with, that's a great sign. The second sign that he is going to commit, that he will commit, is that he is planning a future with dates and times. Now, the reason I say with dates and times is because sometimes women get a little twisted and a guy is just sort of trying things on. He's saying things, thinking about the future, but not per se planning a future, right? Like he's sort of trying it on, like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? Or, oh, in the spring, I would love to do this. Or, oh, in the future, here's this thing. And he's just sort of trying it on. It's this vague, open-ended, wouldn't it be interesting? What do you think of this? If someone is really planning, there's going to be a date and a time attached to it. It's not just, oh, my mom would love you. It's, hey, do you want to come over this weekend? I want to introduce you to my parents. It's not just, wouldn't it be fun to go to Hawaii together? It's, hey, I'm looking at flights. Would you like to come with me on this trip? There's a specificity to it. He's not just trying it on as a vague thing to sort of see how it sounds and what it looks like in his head if it includes you. He's actually planning and he's trying to move things forward. The third sign that he will commit, that he's interested in committing, is that he's bringing you around his family and friends and he's introducing you in a serious way. He's not just saying, oh, this is a girl I know from work, or this is my classmate, or this is a friend. He's saying, this is the woman I'm dating. This is my girlfriend. And he's bringing you around the people that he cares about. When he's deciding if he can see a future with you, he's going to want to know that you can fit into the other aspects of his life. He's going to want to feel that his friends like you, that the people he cares about like him when he's with you. He's going to care that it all works together and it's this nice, easy flowing thing. Now, it happens to be that in some situations, even if the people in his life don't like you or don't approve of you, if he feels strongly enough, that's not going to be a deal breaker. But it's a good sign, it's a good thing for you to focus on, that if he wants to bring you into his world, he wants people to know you, to know who you are, it's because he's serious and he's really trying to see how you'll fit in and he's open to or willing to commit. The fourth sign that he is willing to commit is that he's moving the relationship forward with you. He's moving it forward at a consistent and steady pace. Now, the pace of this is actually really important because sometimes women get a little bit confused because they'll meet someone and he's moving things forward at lightning speed. You go from first date to basically living together to calling and texting each other nonstop, and it's a bit of a whirlwind, and it's not necessarily sustainable. I like to call these people microwave men because often they heat up really fast and they cool off really fast. What you're looking for if you want to have a happy, healthy, loving, committed, lasting relationship is something that's moving forward consistently. So if you meet online, for example, you're going from chatting to texting on your actual phone numbers to having a phone call, from having a phone call to having dates, and then having dates sort of consistently, then going from having dates into actually having a conversation about, are we seeing other people? What does it look like to be more committed, right? Where it's like the relationship is moving through stages. It's moving consistently over weeks and months at this sort of steady pace. He's not asking you out and then disappearing for 3 weeks and then coming back and acting like everything's normal, right? Things are just really moving forward in this regular way, and it continues. It's not enough for it to happen after a week or 2 weeks. You want to see what's going to happen over time. It needs to unfold over time. It doesn't have to be a long time. It doesn't have to take a year or 2 years or 3 years. No, but we are looking for months rather than weeks. If rather than moving things forward really consistently, he's making huge declarations of love, he's buying you expensive gifts, he's saying, I've never met anyone like you, I want to be with you forever, he's proposing after a date or two, that's not necessarily the foundation for a strong, lasting relationship. That's much more likely to be love bombing. Love bombing is something that people with narcissistic tendencies tend to do. It's because they're not actually able to maintain a relationship. So they give all of the attention, all of the love, everything that you want up front. It's like they're fulfilling a fantasy. And then you're sort of trapped in, you're sucked in, you're feeling really close and connected, but the substance isn't there, the foundation isn't really there. So that's actually a red flag that you really want to stay aware of. We want to focus on that steady consistency rather than a whirlwind or an avalanche of love and affection. The other sign that I want to mention is that he wants to see you and only you. Men are naturally competitive, and if he's really considering a future with you, he is not going to want you seeing other men. He's going to want you all to himself. Now again, there's a caveat with this because there can be red flags. If he's telling you after a first or second date, I don't want you seeing anyone else, or who else are you seeing, that's a red flag. That is not normal, and that is not what we want. You want someone that you're getting to know over time who's saying, I'm ready to move this forward. Now, the other thing that I think is really valuable and important for you to pay attention to and stay aware of is that you don't casually move into commitment without actually figuring out what it means, right? Sometimes women are so eager to get into a relationship that they will just agree to exclusivity without understanding what that means to the other person. So I would have that conversation. What does it mean if I'm not seeing anyone else? What are the expectations? When we're just dating, you're just dating. You should really approach it without expectations. But once you're moving into a more committed level, there are going to be expectations, and it's really worth spelling them out, getting absolutely clear between the two of you. What does commitment mean to you? What does it mean to you if I'm your girlfriend? How does that change things? What would you like from me? What do you want to provide? What do you not desire to provide? And really having that conversation and spelling it out. This serves a couple of purposes. One is that it helps you avoid unfulfilled expectations. A lot of our disappointment and frustration in relationship comes from ideas that we hold in our own heads. We have these expectations, these hopes, these desires in our heads that are never communicated, and then we're frustrated over and over when someone doesn't fulfill them. But it's like, you're not a mind reader and neither is he. So rather than doing that, you want to actually have the conversation. Here is what I would love. And make sure that you're with someone who actually wants to provide the things that you want, right? So if you have this conversation and you're saying, to me, if I'm in a relationship, that means that we see each other at least 3 or 4 times a week consistently. It means that every day we'll talk. And he says, to me, being in a relationship means that I'm just not seeing anyone else, but I'm only going to see you once a week. There's a disconnect there. You want to make sure that you're actually aligned so that neither of you are having these frustrated expectations that could have just so easily been solved by having the conversation. The other thing that's important to keep in mind with this whole conversation is to never assume exclusivity. So what a lot of women do is they assume because they're not seeing anyone else, he's not seeing anyone else. Because women approach dating very differently than men do. Alistair Armstrong is one of my favorite teachers on love and relationships, and she always says that men date and women don't date, meaning that a man, when he's dating, he's actually dating. He's meeting a woman, he's spending some time with her, and then he's sort of moving on. He may see her again, he may not, but there's no ongoing connection until there's an ongoing connection. With women, we don't do that. As soon as we meet someone, we're in a relationship. So from that first time we connect with someone, we feel like he should call me because we're in a relationship. He took me out, he doesn't want to see me again. Well, he should call and tell me that because we're in a relationship, right? And it's just a different way of looking at it. Men are dating and women are not dating. We think that we're in a relationship. So part of the problem is that we will assume exclusivity. We'll say, I've been spending all my time with him. Of course I'm not seeing anyone else. I wouldn't even have time. There's no way he's dating anybody else because we're spending all this time together. I spent the night at his house 5 nights last week. Of course he's not dating anyone else. It's not a fair assumption. And he's not wrong if he's dating other people, so long as you are not in a committed relationship. So don't assume that he's not. And don't make him wrong if he is. If you want to move into that exclusive committed relationship, you have to have the conversation and make sure that you're both really on the same page, that it's clear about where you are. All that is to say, don't make any assumptions. Have the conversation. Make sure that you are really clear. If he wants to commit to you, if he's feeling inspired to commit to you, he's going to be very open to that conversation, and there's a good chance he'll initiate that conversation because men are competitive. He's not going to want you seeing other people. So those are some of the signs to look out for to know if he will commit. And like I said at the beginning, most men are not afraid of commitment. They just have to be inspired to it. So I have a free masterclass and I break down my whole formula for manifesting love. And one of the steps is really about how you can actually inspire that commitment. So if you visit magnetismformula.com, you can watch the whole workshop. It's totally free and it's really, really good. And I'll also be sure to link it below. So I want to hear from you. I want you to tell me in the comments, what are some of the signs that you have seen that show that a man is willing to commit or that he's going to commit? I want to know. What comes up for you? So that's all I have for you today. I hope that this served you really well, and I'll see you in the next video.